Iranian Navy enlists Dolphins as bio-torpedoes. This is the Alligator News Roundup. Plus, Texas city-owned water park hosts a Muslims-only day. 40,000 Frenchmen attend a rave to protest outlawed raves. And hundreds of beagles are freed from lab testing and touch grass for the first time. Here we go.
Number 4. Times Now News. Sea creatures turn weapons. Iran to set loose military-trained dolphins against U.S. warships in Hormuz.
Iran's attempts to block the Strait of Hormuz have now turned to the animal kingdom, or more correctly, the sea mammal kingdom. First, they used shore-based rockets to attack cargo ships carrying oil. U.S. and Israeli air assets destroyed most of those rocket installations. Then they planted mines in the water. U.S. and NATO minesweepers cleared those away. Next, they resorted to small fast boats, a longtime favorite of Middle East pirates, only to see them summarily sunk from the air and by surface-to-surface gunfire. Now they have turned to these cetaceans. More than 2 decades ago, Iran purchased an unspecified number of trained dolphins from what this article refers to as the Soviet Navy. Now, I thought the Soviets were not a thing by then, but maybe I was wrong about that. Regardless of the source, Iranians came into possession of this unique bio-based weapon. Now they are reportedly unleashing it on U.S. and NATO warships in the Strait. No reports yet on the effectiveness of this new tactic. An Iranian Navy spokesperson, identified only as Bob, which he is quick to assert is not his real name, speaking through an unattributed YouTube upload from an undisclosed location using an incognito browser in an untraceable internet cafe, made this bold proclamation. The Yankee and Zionist imperialists have finally met their match. There is no path to victory for them in the Strait of Hormuz, which Allah gave exclusively to the Iranian people. The Dolphins have freely volunteered to give their all to this holy, at which point the video abruptly dissolved into snow and was replaced with a 404 error message indicating the URL could no longer be reached. In an unrelated event, sources indicated that a U.S. frigate in the Strait had fired a single Tomahawk missile toward the only internet cafe still operational in Tehran. No bomb damage assessment was immediately available. But really, where is PETA? Are they up for this fight?
Number 3. Red State. Taxpayer-funded Texas water park announces Muslims-only day, quickly backtracks after widespread outrage.
The city of Grand Prairie in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex has found the water in their taxpayer-funded water park is hotter than they had anticipated. Epic Waters Indoor Water Park, 2970 Epic Place, Grand Prairie, Texas, announced a Muslims-only day at the park to celebrate Eid al-Adha, the annual Islamic Feast of the Sacrifice. Supported by city sales tax, the original flyer advertising the event clearly specified, quote, for Muslims only, a family-friendly environment, unquote. Presumably, it is unfriendly to Christian and Jewish families. That plan lasted for maybe a few minutes until Texas outrage forced a change in plans. The revised flyer now indicates, come and celebrate Eid with us, all are welcome. Interestingly, the Epic Waters website suggests appropriate swimwear for the event, head-to-toe full coverage for females. Their frequently asked questions page also suggests lowering the gaze so as to maintain respectful behavior. A few responses to the encouragement to lower my gaze at a public water park come to mind, none of which are suitable for the ANR. Given the political environment in Texas, I would be surprised if there was not legislative or gubernatorial action to prohibit this sort of exclusivity. By the time you read this, it may already be in motion. Note the growing Islamic influence in local governments around the United States. This is not satire. Zohran Mamdani was elected mayor of our largest city. Daily calls to prayer are now announced by loudspeaker in certain areas there. Washington Square Park in downtown New York was recently given over to Islamic public prayer. Epic City, unrelated to Epic Waters, is a planned Muslim community in Texas aiming to become, quote, the epicenter of U.S. Islam, unquote. Months ago, Texas U.S. Representative Chip Roy introduced legislation to curtail the spread of Sharia law. The bill calls for deportation of anyone who ascribes to Sharia. It also paves the way to revoke U.S. citizenship for individuals previously naturalized who now advocate for socialism. Predictably, the Council on American Islamic Relations, CAIR, has voiced opposition on constitutional grounds, free speech and all that. You know, I never liked Ayn Rand, Atlas shrugged, because of her focus on objectivism to the exclusion of Christian faith. But one of her themes was that you ought not allow someone else to hold you hostage to your own convictions. The constitutional argument against allowing an Islamic religious takeover of America is an apt illustration. Maybe Texas can show some sense in this fight.
Number 2. NDTV World. 40,000 attend illegal rave party on French military site.
The French love a party, and the bigger the better. Last weekend, some 40,000 revelers descended on a military installation near Bourges, central France, to enjoy techno music and unbridled joyous dancing. Never mind that the 25,000-acre location is an active bombing range, or that unexploded ordnance litters the landscape. The Directorate General of Armaments indicates live shells are routinely discovered and dismantled at the site. It has been in use for explosives testing for 150 years. Large raves are illegal in France, which is apparently reason enough to have a large rave in protest of the legislation. Organizers have suggested that ravers avoid digging holes or picking up objects found on the ground. No kidding. Good luck with that. Meanwhile, a sea of tents and campers extend as far as the eye can see. Don't dig a hole in the ground because it might blow up. I'll bet sanitation is a challenge.
Number 1. WISN ABC 12. Hundreds of beagles rescued from Ridgeland Farms.
Ridgeland Farms at Blue Mounds, Wisconsin is a beagle breeding facility with a research laboratory attached. For years, it has attracted unwanted attention from animal rights groups. Beagles, because they are docile and cannot complain to the media, make ideal candidates for medical testing, as long as you cannot hear them whine. Reports of painful surgeries without anesthesia have surfaced. A Depression-era agreement required animal testing of all new human drug treatments. That has proceeded at Ridgeland Farms for nearly a century. FDA guidelines in the last 5 years have made such testing obsolete. It is now understood to be inhumane, which it is. A better word might be reprehensible. Testing has nevertheless continued, and now the USDA has intervened. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., HHS Secretary, has been instrumental in stopping federal funding for beagle testing there. This week, the first release of beagles took place. Some 150 were rescued by local animal rights groups pursuant to a legal agreement. Video footage shows scores of Snoopies who were able to touch grass and run freely for the first time in their lives. I really can't go on with this story. The pictures on my monitor are getting blurry. And thanks for joining the Alligator News Roundup for Friday, May 8, 2026. It is a complex world in which we live. The less clear we are about our worldview, the more confusing it is. If you are contemplating your own worldview, which we used to call a philosophy of life, you might consider starting with a few simple words, such as, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth," and then go on from there. While you're at it, find a beagle to pet. Have a good weekend.
Thanks for following us. See our YouTube channel for previous episodes. Share this one with someone who appreciates quality news commentary, and then see if they are still speaking to you. See you next week.